Good morning, gang. Hello, folks. Give me a wave if you can hear me. Okay, great. I see some people I know. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Michael. Magda, it's nice to see you brought the family. That's really cool. Let me keep everyone on mute. All right. Hi, gang. Let me just look around the room for a moment and see who's here. Hi, Vaishnavi. I'm beginning to see your face a lot these days. That's great. All right. Hi, gang. We're not quite at the top of the hour. Let me ask you to do this. Will you put in the chat box where in the world you are right now? Let's get a sense of where everyone is. It's nice to get a little bit of connection. On previous calls, people have asked me, why don't I do this as a webinar rather than one of these Zoom calls where people can hit unmute by accident? It's because I love community and I'm all about people. And so it's really fun to be connected in this way and see each other, even though there can be some technical hitches. This isn't about me teaching, this is about me connecting. All right, we have people already all over the world. That's fantastic. All right, let me ask you a question. In my kids' school, they use this as a sentence stem for getting to open up and share what's really going on. They call it a rose and a thorn. What's a rose and a thorn right now for you? The rose is something that you're loving right now, you're really appreciating. And a thorn is something that's prickly or causing you challenge right now. So would you capture in the chat a rose and a thorn? One thing, be concise, one thing that's a rose for you, that's really beautiful for you at this moment in time. And one thing that's a thorn, a rose and a thorn. Okay, awesome. Got over 60 people already, that's great. Thanks, Danielle. Danielle's at our intensive that we're running right now, for the next 20 days or so. Yeah. Hi, Cordelia. Oh, great. Jane says, the rose is time home with my husband. Yeah, we all have different sides of that. Sometimes it's like, wow, I get to be home with my kids more than ever before. And other times it's, oh my God, I get to be home with my kids more than ever before. Hi, Arvind. Nice to see you here, man. That's great. Seeing old friends here as well as new ones. Happy birthday, Magda. All right, I won't read through everyone in this moment, but it gives us a chance to really connect and get in touch with what's going on for us. What's a rose, something that where we can look at life being bright, and what's a thorn where things look a bit challenging right now. And it's a great thing to do if you have kids, or even just for yourself or with your clients on a regular basis, to look at what is going well, and then where's the challenge, and the two together bring power. All right, let's begin. How many of you are familiar with the book that I wrote called The Prosperous Coach? Will you raise a hand if you know that book? And keep your hand up if you've actually read the book, so I get a sense of who's actually read the book. Let's do the other side of it now. Thank you. That's awesome. So many of you are here. The other side, who's here because someone told you about this Facebook group and you don't even know who I am? Who's here because they maybe don't even know the book, certainly haven't read it. Don't be shy. I want to get a sense of who hasn't seen that before. Thanks, Alpa. Probably thinking, who is this guy? Why am I here? All right. So it gives me a sense of most of you are already part of my community, or at least part of understanding what the Prosperous Coach approach is. Briefly, in 2013, with a friend of mine, Steve Chandler, and myself, we published a book called The Prosperous Coach. And it was an antidote to all the stuff online about how to get clients by internet marketing. By what we recognize is that coaches are people, and then they become a professional coach and think there's a way that they have to do things. And they start doing all this stuff online, spend thousands of dollars, thousands of hours, building websites, building email marketing systems. How many of you know that one? And it didn't seem to do anything for you. It drained you of energy as you did it. Look, if you're an expert at that and you love it, that's great. But you don't have to be to create clients. Creating clients is something you do in a relationship, one conversation at a time. And that's the heart of that book. And if I could sum that book up in a phrase, it would be give people an experience of coaching, not the concept of coaching. People want to talk about what coaching is, their coach training skills, the letters after their name, the qualifications they've got, and nobody cares. Give them an experience of what you do, and some of them will want more. And so the heart of that book is this idea that clients are created. You don't get them, you don't attract them, you don't hunt for them, you serve them. You serve people powerfully, and if you serve enough people powerfully, their energy is coming back. It's not a quick fix. It is not a quick fix. But then again, I would stress that anyone who's promising you a quick fix online is probably making it up. I've never seen a quick fix, a quick way to make money. It just doesn't exist. You've got to be out there giving value to people. Give people more value than they could possibly imagine. And some of them are going to go, oh my God, if I get this without paying for it, what could I get if I actually spend real time with you? So the Prosperous Coach approach has a framework at its heart with 4 words: connect, invite, create, propose. Connect with people, just deeply connect with people, serve people, be of value to them, connect with them, say, hi, how you doing? How's life? Connect with a friend, connect with an old colleague, just be there in connection with people. The chapter in that book says only connect. That's it, only connect. My friend Arvind is here. Arvind, as I see you right now, you're one of the most connected people I know because you just love to connect people and connect with people. And there's a result that comes for that over time when you are someone who is interested in connecting people, connecting with people and connecting people, connecting interesting people together. Connect, invite. Sometimes you got to say to somebody, hey, we were just chatting about life or business, and that thing you said, that's what I do. You want to talk a little bit more about that? That's an invitation. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that? Invitations can be very gentle. They don't have to be, hey, do you want to have a coaching session with me? Hey, do you want to become a client? No, it's an invitation. Hey, would you like to talk a little bit more about that? Connect, invite, create, propose. Connect, invite, create. That's where you do your magic. That's where you serve somebody. You coach somebody really powerfully. And then at some point, you have to make a proposal. If you want to be a professional coach, it's not the right path for everybody. But for those of us who want to be professional coaches, or those of us who want to increase our fees and grow in the impact we have to be willing to look someone in the eyes and say, look, this is what it would look like if you and I were to work together. This is how much it will cost. This is the parameters. This is how much energy it will require from you. This is how much commitment I'll need from you. Connect, invite, create, propose. Now, that book was written in 2013. I want to update you with what I call Prosperous Coach 2.0. And then I want to interact with you with some of your questions around creating clients. So if you have a question around creating clients, and you can be concise, is if it's 3 or 4 paragraphs, I'm not going to be able to read it in the chat. Paste it in the chat. I'd love to find out what's going on for you in this moment and how I can support you. But let me update you. Prosperous Coach was written in 2013, 7 years later, and really 2 years before that, Steve and I started writing that. So really, it's almost a decade ago was our thinking. Here's how I'd update that right now. Connect, invite, create, propose. Connect, invite, chat. Invite people to a chat, not to a 90-minute or a 2-hour coaching conversation. That was the premise of the book that we wrote, because back in 2013, people were offering 25-minute taster sessions. And they said, get them excited and then get their credit card out on the call and have them pay you their down payment on the call. And we said, no, don't do that. Give them 90 minutes of your time, 2 hours of your time, really serve them. But things have changed a lot since then. Everyone and their mother is a coach. And at this moment in time, right now, a lot of needy coaches out there. And people are struggling. People haven't got a lot of time to give. Their time is their most precious asset. So don't invite them to a coaching conversation. Invite them to a chat. Connect with people. And if it feels right, not for everyone, but if it feels right for the person you're talking with, hey, would you like to jump on a call for 10 minutes? Because I know in 10 minutes, here's what will happen. You'll leave that conversation with a bit more clarity, a bit more confidence, and one tiny step you can take at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Those are 3 things that all of us can promise, because you really don't have to do very much as a coach to help someone have a little bit more clarity. When they just speak out loud what's going on in their mind, they drop out of their head, and you can create a space for them to get a little bit more clear. When you're a little clearer, you become a little more confident, and you can remind them of all the situations and challenges they've faced before that they've come through. And now they have a little bit more clarity and a little bit more confidence. And then you can help them identify one tiny step they can take at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And you can do that in 10 or 20 minutes. But invite them to a 10-minute chat. Make it easy for people to say yes to them. Connect, invite, chat. If you have a chat and you ask them these questions, take me 3 years into the future. Tell me about what life will be like in 3 years. If you change this challenge you have right now, if you succeeded in this dream, tell me about it. In 3 years' time, how amazing would it be? That's question number 1. Question number 2, what's going to hold you back? What's going to hold you back? That's internally and externally. The thoughts that get in your way, the recurring habits that get in your way, what's going to hold you back? And also externally, the state of the market, the state of the economy, where your industry is right now. What are the possibilities ahead for you? What possibilities are there if that may not be around for other people? What possibilities do you have right now? What are your strengths? And I include the strengths from before you became a coach. For most of us, we had a career before coaching, and we tend to dismiss it. Include that. What are your strengths? What were you known for? What could people count on you for in your previous career? And then what are the dark side of your strengths? I'm a visionary leader. The dark side of being a visionary leader is I upset my team on a regular basis because I keep coming out with new ideas and they just want to make the current ones work. And I'm stressing them out with all the new stuff I'm coming out with. Ask them those questions and then pause. And you can do that in 10 minutes. And then pause and ask them this question. It's the key question. What have you done about that? What have you done about that? When you ask them, what have you done about that? You have an immediate filter to 2 types of people. Some of them will say, oh my God, nothing. This is amazing. This is inspiring talking to you. This is the first time I've said this out loud. They're not ready for you to invite to a 90-minute or a 2-hour conversation to coach them. They haven't done anything yet. You've helped them already. Now your job is to say, okay, here's an assignment for you. Go away for a week and come back to me and tell me in a week's time what action you've taken. Go away and read this book. Go away and watch this video. Read my blog or listen to my podcast or whatever assignment you want to give them and see if they come back. 90% of them, you'll never hear from them again. The ones who do, give them another assignment and another and filter them down until now they're ready. But when they say this, nothing yet, when you ask them that question, what have you done about this? They're not your people right now. Don't spend time with them. They don't need it. They're not ready for it. Unless you're new to coaching and all you want to do is build your coaching muscle, in which case you can get as many people as you like on a call with you. If you ask them, hey, let me remind you that big dream you just shared. In 3 years' time, you'd be doing this in your life, your business. This is how amazing it would be. Well, what have you done about that? And they say, oh my God, I've had this coach and I've been to this seminar and I've read these books and here's the things I've tried that worked and here's the things I tried that didn't work. They're ready. And you can say, well, look, all we've done today is talk a little bit about your vision and what might hold you back. How would you like to get on a call with me? And we'll spend 90 minutes diving deep into that vision and I will actually coach you. Would that be of interest to you? If they say yes, then you schedule that call there and then. And now you're in. Connect, invite, chat. You ask those 5 or 6 questions in a chat, And now you've got a game. You invite them to a coaching conversation. You coach them as powerfully as you can in that conversation. If you've got 90 minutes blocked out, coach them for an hour. And at the end of the hour, pause. Don't be tempted to think, I've got 90 minutes. I've got to give so much. I'm going to teach them every coaching tool I know. That's what some coaches do. I'm going to teach them tell them every story I've ever heard in coaching, give them every tool I've ever come across. You don't need to do that. One tool can be enough. One idea can be enough. No more than an hour if it's a 90-minute call. Use the last 30 minutes, pause at the hour mark and say, let me check in with you. What's the biggest insight you've had so far from our conversation today? Check in where they are and then ask them. Oh, and possibly actually in that moment, go silent. Say nothing. That's it. If you say nothing and you've really had an impact on them, they're going to say something. Now, they might say, thank you so much. This was amazing. See you around. They're maybe not ready for coaching right now. Maybe they're complete. Sometimes they'll say, wow, that was amazing. Can you tell me what it would look like to work with you? Sometimes you'll be so inspired by them that you'll do the thing I wrote about in my book. There's a chapter I call Never Propose to a Woman 10 days after you've met her. Well, I did. I met Monique 10 days earlier, and 10 days later, I proposed to my wife. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not for most people. I don't even know if it's the right thing for me, but we've been married 13 years this year. It turns out that you can play that game sometimes. You can't play it every time. You can't tell everyone you coach, hey, I want to work with you. That's being needy. That means you need a client more than they need you. But once in a while, you can look someone in the eyes and say, hey, that felt like magic. The insight you just had, if you apply that, your life is going to change. And if you'd like to, right now, I'd be happy to talk to you about what it would look like if you and I were to work together over time. Would that be of interest to you? Get permission. Don't jump into it. Would that be of interest to you? Would you like to talk about what it would look like if you and I were to work together? Now you have a conversation. And at some point, if they say, yes, I'd love to work with you, then what you need to do is what they do in a restaurant. They say, well, what does it look like? You pull out your menu. You pull out a piece of paper, and on it, it has what you offer to them. I just wrote a piece about this that came out. If you're on my newsletter, it came out today in the newsletter about how to create a menu. I give an example of a really simple menu with 3 items that every coach could create right now. So when someone says, how do I work with you? You don't just say, well, it's coaching, and then you're scared to say your one number. You want to give them at least 3 opportunities, 3 different ways that they can work with you. So if you're not on my newsletter, go to richlitvin.com and I think it's articles, somewhere on the site, you'll find the blog, and the article that came out today about the menu will tell you how to break down a really simple menu. So you can make a proposal with 3 options, and they can go, oh, I want A or B or C. The problem for most coaches, they say, a client says, how do I work with you? And they say, well, it's $15,000 for a year of coaching. And that's it. And the joke I make is that's like walking into a restaurant and saying, hey, what's on the menu? And they say, beef. You go, no, but what's on the menu? Beef. That's it. You want to give them some ability to choose. All right, let's play. Let me have a look at your questions. Oh, hang on. Yes, I want to check. You know what I want to do? I want to give you a document, you guys. Let me just do this. I want to give you a tool. Hopefully this will work. Let me see from my computer. Let me pull up this file. Here we go. Oh, you know what? No, let me share my screen first so I can talk you through it. And then I'll share it with you. Where do we go? Share my screen. Here we go. Okay. Give me a wave if you can see this so I know you got this. Okay, great. So this is what I call the client creation dashboard. I'm going to talk it through with it for a couple of minutes. I'm going to give it to you so you've got this, and then I'll go into your questions. You get in a car and you want to drive somewhere. You need a dashboard in front of you. You need some dials that give you an indication of what's going on. What speed are you going? Is there gas in the car? is the engine temperature at the right temperature? Are the tires at the right temperature? And you check the dials, or you're going to come across challenges. Hang on a second. Let me just do this. Can you guys please hit mute? It's hard for me to do it when I'm sharing my screen. Some of you join in and hit unmute by mistake. Okay, great. These are the dials that are really essential when you're creating clients. And the problem for most people is they look at this dial on the right, income, the amount of money I made in billings. When you're coaches, you look at your bank balance and you say, am I a good coach? How high is that bank balance? It's a really poor indicator because it's a lag indicator. Hey, Rory, I'm glad you got the team with you today. It's a lag indicator. What you want to track is lead indicators. Connect, invite, create, propose. How many people did I connect with this week? How many people who I connected with did I invite to a coaching conversation? How many people did I coach who are not current clients? And then this is really key. These two columns here will change the game for you. Track the number of no's you collect. It's so easy to collect yeses, and they come very rarely. You've got to serve far more people than who people are going to say yes to you. So track the no's, make it a game. How many no's did I collect? And how much money did I make in proposals? If you look someone in the eyes and say, it'll be $1,000 to work together, you put $1,000 in that column here. This will follow at some point down the road. Connect, invite, create, propose. Have fun collecting no's. Have fun looking at how much money you're going to make in proposals. We sometimes have our clients play something we call the 90-day money game. For 12 weeks, they track how much money they're proposing. So what you do, you say, you look at this bottom here, how much money do I want to make in the next 90 days? £10,000, $30,000, $70,000. Doesn't matter the number. You put the number down here. This is what you'd like to make. And then here, under proposals, you multiply this number by 3. I want to make $10,000, then I've got to make $30,000 in proposals. That's it. There's your game. In the first couple of weeks, this will be really high, the connect box. Over time, invite will get higher as you'll start to invite people. Over time, some of them will say yes, and down here, week 3, 4, 5, you'll get more people you're having coaching conversations. And down here, you'll start to see the proposals increase. At some point, this column will fill up down the road. Let me stop sharing. Let me share this file with you right now. So each of you got a copy of that. Okay. All right. Give me a wave if that pops up in your chat. You should see that. Okay, cool. So somehow I think you click on that and it should download it to your inbox. All right. Let me have somebody I just saw in the chat, someone said these sessions recorded. They are. And I'll put the link in the Facebook group we're running a bit later on. And we have a YouTube channel. They get posted to the YouTube channel. So let me have a look at your questions. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look through your questions, but let me get you interacting with me for a moment. Will you share with me a single insight you've had from anything I've shared so far? Now, I know there are some of you here who've been following me and interacting with me for years. Some of my clients are here. But this stuff never gets old. If you listen for insight rather than information, you can still have an insight, even in this moment, years later after learning this. So would you share in the chat, what's a tiny insight you've had from anything I've shared today? Let me have a look at the questions. All right. Hi, Cordelia. Let me answer your question first. And I saw you ask this in the Facebook group. Here's Cordelia's question. When you know that you're coming from a place of service and you've delivered value, how do you create clients when right now, or them saying not right now, has to do with their scarcity mindset? Well, you want the high flame response or the gentle response? I'm going to play with you. I'll give you the high flame response, but I'll tell you how I answer it for myself. I say that if I've served somebody really powerfully and they've said, I'd love to work with you, Rich, but I can't afford to right now, that's a clue that I didn't serve them as powerfully as I thought I did. And I turn the attention back on me, because it looks right now that because of coronavirus, lots of people are saying to us, I can't afford to work with you. I can't afford to have a coach right now. But let me ask you a different question. How many of you have signed a client in the last 30 days? Put your hand up if you've signed a client in the last 30 days. I want to skim, keep your hands up. I want to skim through the boxes. That's at least 30%, maybe 40% of you from a quick glance. Let me ask you a different question. How many of you have hired your own coach or invested in yourself, your professional or personal growth in the last 30 days? Right. There you go. So be careful, Cordelia. Sorry, my phone's ringing. That's sweet. My son is 8 years old and he's got a little girlfriend and she's FaceTiming. They use our phone. So I would say, Cordelia, that if you're hearing that, the job for you is to look at, what did I miss? And you can actually do that live with them. They say, look, I'd love to work with you, Cordelia, but I can't afford to. I'd pause and say something like this. I understand that. These are challenging times. I get it. You might want to wait until the times are right before you invest in yourself and what comes next. And then you can say something like this. But I have a practice that when someone says the time's not right to invest in coaching, that I want to check in. What did I miss? What did I miss when we were talking about right there? That that I wish Cordelia had talked about this with me. Or this is one tiny thing that you were about to open up and you chose not to. What did I miss? And it gives them a chance. Not everyone wants to open up, but it gives them a chance to go deep. So I turn that lens on myself when they say I can't afford it, because now I'm empowered. Otherwise, I sit there at the effect of all these people saying, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And I could choose to believe them. I have had millionaires, 3, I think in total, say, I can't afford to work with you, Rich. And I've had other people tell me, I will do whatever it takes. And they've come back weeks or months or years later. And I've done it myself. It's a story at the start of The Prosperous Coach. When I wanted to work with Steve Chandler, said, let me be your client for free and I'll pay you double at the end. And he really upset me because he said, no. He said, I want the guy who can create the money first. And it took me 9 months, but he changed my life because he did that to me. So that's how I'd play. Thanks, Cordelia. Let's see what other questions you guys have got. Kristen says, what if your coaching expertise is something people don't generally chat about in conversation? Kristen, are you here live? Just unmute yourself if you're there, Kristen.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Are you in your PJs still?
Yeah, I'm going to turn my video on anyway.
Okay. Okay, cool. They're not in your PJs.
I have an old background on.
All right, no worries. Tell me, what do you mean by that question?
So
by the way, hi.
Hi.
How are you? How comes you're here today? Why are you here?
I am here today. Oh dear, let me just turn off my background. This is really distracting, isn't it?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Okay.
I am here today because I am new to coaching, looking to launch a business. And I read your book. I've read your book twice now, actually. I had it recommended to me years ago. Reread it just a couple months ago. I found it really, really powerful. Yeah. And I'm here because I'm struggling to create those connections that I know I need to create. I'm putting content out about what I do because it's not something people think about a lot. And I'm getting a lot of... So
let me slow you down. Let me slow you down. Let's dive in. I'm going to play with you. But let me ask everybody else, will you put us on speaker view so you just get to see us? I forgot to say that earlier. Then it's much nicer. You can pay attention to what's really going on in this conversation. Kristen, what did you do before you were a coach?
I was in software consulting for 12 years.
Tell me more. What specifically around, because that's a very broad area, but tell me more specifically what you were doing.
So I was in project management and also product management, which is helping to guide the product, to understanding what the business needs are, what the customer needs are, creating the vision for the product, and then also being able to lead a development team and building something on budget and on time.
So you just told me that you understand systems, processes, people, and finance.
Sure.
Do you guys see that confidence with which Kristen just smiled at me and said, sure? Do you know how unique it is to have that overlap of all four areas and understand them with the depth that you do?
Yes, I do. And I did very well in my previous career as a result.
What's the distinction you're making that here was where I did really well and here I'm new? Tell me about that.
Well, I have become aware that when it came to coaching, I really thought I had to be and act a certain way, and that really wasn't getting me anywhere. And I've realized that by leaning into the strengths that helped me excel in my previous career, I'm creating more like resonance with people in what I'm currently trying to do. And I think it's that resistance and like totally leaning into those strengths, because I have a hard time seeing how my analytical side really fits well with coaching.
Great. So here's what you need to understand. This is a really important distinction for most of us. Coaching is a tool, not a title. And you have numerous tools in your backpack. You have the tool that you can be a consultant. You have a tool that you can be a coach. You have a tool that says you're a trusted advisor. You have a tool that says you can be a chief financial officer, even for a short period of time. You have a tool that says you can be a leader and a manager, and dozens of other tools, I've got no doubt. So stop referring to yourself as, I used to be a consultant with all this expertise over here, and now I'm this beginner baby coach who doesn't know quite how to speak myself into the world. No, Kristen, you've been a leader and a manager. You've been a teacher. You've been a coach. You've been a consultant for over a decade. Am I right?
You are.
Yeah. So what was the question you asked me? If your coaching expertise is something people don't generally chat about in conversation. So stop talking about your coaching expertise and think about the challenges that most people are facing where you can help. What's the challenge that you see most of the time that people need help with, that you can help with?
I see people being really challenged by burnout, by being extremely exhausted, by feeling overwhelmed, and by secretly questioning how they're going to maintain their productivity to stay in their career for another year, let alone another 20 years.
Have you had many coaching clients yet?
I have done several free coaching sessions.
How many consulting clients do you currently have?
I don't have any consulting clients right now.
Because you were done with it? It was just, you just burn out from doing the consulting yourself, just tired? Why not?
Because I had been trying to work full time, have coaching, consulting clients while also having a side hustle. And that really didn't work for me for years and years. So this is the time I've given myself to focus fully on doing the coaching piece. And unfortunately, I decided that right before COVID came about.
No. I built my business at the start of the last economic crisis. So actually this is great timing for you. So don't, there's no unfortunate about it. Don't let that, there's two ways to live life. You can live life as a reported on life or as a created life. And during the last economic crisis, there were lots of people who said the economy is bad, and they showed up because of that. They showed up a certain way. And there are others who said, well, when the economy is bad, some people struggle and some people thrive. I'm going to be the latter. And they showed up because of that. And so don't get me wrong, if people that right now have a health crisis or things like that, they need to take care of that. But for us in this conversation, from the place of coming from a created life, no, this is a great opportunity for you because you have this wealth of expertise. You've been a consultant, you've been trained as a coach, you've been a trusted advisor, you understand finance, you understand processes, you understand systems, you understand people, you've been a leader, you've been a manager. Do you get why I'm saying this again and again? So that you can just sink into, within 3 minutes of meeting you, I get the impact you will have on people's lives and people's businesses.
What I'm getting out of this is that I need to stop thinking about this in a linear fashion, and I kind of just need to lean into what I'm bringing to the table and don't worry about fitting it into a certain package or a certain box or a certain presentation.
That's great insight. And there's a third level to that insight. So the first level of the insight is, there's this thing called coaching. How do I sell this thing called coaching? That's really hard. Everyone's a coach. Who wants coaching at this moment in time? Then the next level, you got the insight from us talking is, Rich is reflecting back to me who I am, and you're owning it. I feel that it's not being humble here. Just this is who you are. And oh yeah, of course I could charge for that. Of course people want that. Here's the third insight, the third level. What people will pay you for is their dreams. Your job is to put people in touch with their dreams. What would you like to create right now? And when you put them in touch with their dreams, some of them are going to want to invest to make those happen. You've seen that for years as a consultant, because you go in and they say, here's our dream. We want to increase revenue. We want to... That, you guys, was an insight moment.
Yeah.
I don't need to say any more. I will for the rest of you in a minute, but for Kristen, she's there. Like my son's just come into the room. Do you want to listen to an audiobook? It's in the kitchen. It's on top of the kitchen, right? I know it. See you in a minute. I should close the door, sweetie. Welcome to my world at 7:30 every morning. My little son walks in. Kristen, what did you get from that? Tell us what the insight was.
The insight was the connect them to their dreams piece, show them what their dreams are, because one of the reasons I did well in software development is because I know it's not just about listening to the client and regurgitating back to them what they think they want. It's about finding out what they really need and then presenting them with what I heard, but not just like in words, but like really getting descriptive and literally visualizing it for them. And once I can get a visual of what they told me they want, and I can kind of spit that back at them, that's when people get super, super clear on what they really, really need. And they have like this insight moment with their software product. And I think it's going to be very much the same process with helping them discover what they really need for career longevity. I can see that connection now.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah. So that smile, you guys, is the smile after the insight moment. Kristen, right now, her brain is kind of ticking over with where she's going to go with this. And so I will pause with you in this moment, Kristen, because this is the thing people need to realize about coaching. If you coach around insight rather than doing time-based coaching, in 5 minutes, sometimes you're there and the client, they're ready. They've got like, I'll see you next week. You don't need more coaching. We don't need to turn this into a 27-step plan. So thank you for trusting me, even though we don't yet really know each other. You've got this. And I really recommend you do a couple of things. If you don't yet follow my blog, I write a lot about this. If you don't yet listen to my podcast, I coach people like you who have been coaching their entire life. They didn't know it. So they've made this story up about, I'm a baby coach, when actually they're an expert leader and they need to lead with that and own that. So nice to meet you.
Will do.
Yeah.
You too.
Keep me posted. Are you in the Facebook group?
I am, yeah.
Oh, great. So stay connected. I'd love to hear what happens as a result of this.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kristen. All right. Let me put myself on spotlight mode. Oh, that's beautiful. That was really, really powerful to see. And I wanted to give you an example too, because I'm teaching as well as coaching. Did you notice where I paused? Did you notice where I got silent and didn't say anything? And I left the space for Kristen's insight. I didn't have to keep pushing too far. She got there when she needed to. All right, my inbox here is, or the chat room is tons of stuff in there. I'd love to see if you got an insight from anything that just happened. Would you share it with me? Let me know what you got. Thanks for your comment, Fred. Okay, Suzanne got the insight that she is her target market. That's the thing that all coaches need to get. Your dream client is the person who looks back at you in the mirror every night. So you can articulate the pains, the desires, the dreams, the struggles of your dream clients because it's you. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Heather, that's right. People are often inspired because you've left your previous world and gone on this journey that you're on right now, and it's inspiring for them. There's a question here from, another Kristen, actually. It's a different one. What do you do? What if you do executive coaching directly with companies? I find that companies are in a holding pattern and not having these conversations right now. Kristen Harcourt, you want to come on and have a chat with me? Come on unmute and I'll be able to see you.
I'm here.
Hey, Kristen.
Hi. Do you want me to, right now my kids are coming back and forth, so that's why I don't have my screen on. Do you want me to?
That's the reality for all of us. So
okay.
that you just, my son just came in.
Okay.
The only reason you didn't see him is I'm at a standing desk and it's too high for him to come on camera, but otherwise he loves being on camera.
Okay.
Hey. All the Kristens today. So tell me, give me some insight into who you are and what you do. How long have you been coaching?
I have had my practice for 3.5 years. And then before that, I was doing a lot of HR consulting and some coaching in more the corporate world. So end-to-end talent management.
Great. And tell me, what's the challenge you have right now so I can know how I can support you?
So I find in my practice, I do both. So I do personal coaching. So individuals seek me out, and I'll sometimes even be working with leaders. So it's very much individual sponsored. And then I do executive coaching where I have relationships with a lot of HR professionals. So they'll bring me in and do coaching. And I just find I've offered, I think I mentioned in our last conversation with the Zoom that I have offered some pro bono, which has been great. So I've gotten some, get to know some leaders in some organizations and they've loved that. But in terms of sitting down and saying, okay, we want to start working with some of the C-suite executives, they're not really in that headspace right now. They're really in the trenches, kind of dealing with exactly what's happening with the coronavirus. And that's their focus as opposed to talking about coaching programs.
Let me ask you this question. So before I do, by the way, let me acknowledge you. That's great. I love the story of where you've been in your career. I love what you do now, how you work, sometimes the individuals, sometimes the executives. Great model that you have. I love that you're serving people, doing what you call pro bono work, just really purely being of service to people. How many of these conversations are you having right now with people who can write you a check?
On the personal coaching side, if people are seeking me out, everyone that I'm talking to, they're at that stage.
Yep.
For corporate, I'm having conversations, letting them know I'm here to serve you. So it's only been, thank you so much, Kristen. I'm so glad this is available to my leaders right now. They're trusting me to bring me in and have access to their leaders, but they're not, they don't currently in this moment, they're not talking money. It's not to say that that conversation might not happen 2 months, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, but not right now. That's not the dialogue.
Okay, great answer. Give me some interesting information, and you didn't answer my question.
Okay.
You told me on the personal side, yeah, everyone you talk to could write you a check if they wanted to.
Yes.
In the corporate world, one of the challenges we face when we go and work in corporate is that too often as coaches, we walk in to have conversations with the HR department. HR are people. That's your background, right? I started my career off in HR, actually. Only did it for 1 year, but HR are people, so they love us as coaches. But almost always, the person in HR cannot write you a check. And coaches will spend days, weeks, or even months serving people in HR, having great conversations, creating value. And at some point, they go to someone who can write a check, and then they have to describe who you are and what you do. And coaching is a business where you need to sell the experience of what you do, not the concept. And no one can do it secondhand as well as you could anyway. So most of the time, let me rephrase this. If you are working in corporate, you have to make sure that there's a person in the room who could write you a check. How does that land, first of all?
Agree completely. I think the challenge is, so if I think about what you're saying, there have been a couple of leaders who are quite senior that, yes, they do have access. So perhaps that will be something that'll happen. I think my challenge is.
So let me pause you.
Yeah.
Because I like to get out of the abstract into the concrete.
Yes.
Tell me, use first names if you can, or make them anonymous and make it made up name if you need to. But tell me the name of one of these leaders who is a check writer in this organization.
Yes.
And tell me a bit more about this person.
Okay. So I had recently had a coaching session with, we'll just call him Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sam would be a senior leader who would be my ideal kind of client in terms of pretty good self-awareness, high performer, but the challenge with go, 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 not so much the being and who am I and how I'm showing up, all of that kind of stuff. Highly competitive, but not necessarily doing the inward work. So we did do some inward work together, had a really positive coaching session.
Take me out of the story for a second.
Okay.
Let me stay with context rather than content for a moment. What's Sam's title in the organization? Vice President, SVP?
Vice President of Operations.
Okay. What's his single biggest challenge right now? Not that you know what it is, which is the internal stuff that he sees. If we asked him right now, he would say, this is my single biggest challenge.
Meaningfully connecting with his team in the current situation where he can't see people face to face. And there's lots of different layers in terms of team members.
Okay, so go a level deeper. If he connects deeply with his team, what's the problem that will solve? Because there's a problem down there he needs to solve.
Keep his employees engaged.
And if he keeps his employees engaged, what will happen?
They'll be able to keep people. People will not leave. They'll still be there when this is all over. He'll also feel like he's able to support them and offer them what they need during this really difficult time.
Let me ask the question in a different way now. What's the biggest challenge in operations right now in his business?
Some people they're going to get burnt out because there's so much on their plate. And then others, it's exactly the opposite extreme due to the different kind of clients that their company serves.
And can you say a little bit more about who are the kind of clients that they serve?
Yeah, so it's within the food industry. So they could be supplying to healthcare where the hospitals, oh my gosh, they can't keep up. They could also be supplying to universities where universities are closed and students aren't there, right? So they have some vendors that are really, really busy depending on who's really active right now with what's going on, and then others that nothing's happening because it's closed down.
Okay, great. So we need to find a way for you to serve Sam so powerfully that he says, oh my God, if this is what happens when Kristen works with me for free, I can't imagine what's going to happen if I'm paying her or week after week after week, she keeps coming back. And one really powerful way to do this is to serve 2 layers deep. So reaching out to Sam and say, hey, Sam, I was thinking about you. I've got a spot that's open up on my calendar. And what I'd like to do for you is have a conversation where we're not talking about you and what's going on for you, but we're looking at who are the 2 groups of people that if you can astonish them, your world is going to transform. And as I see it, they are your employees and your customers. So I want to block out 60 to 90 minutes where all we do is put our attention on those 2 groups of people. 30 minutes on your employees. What are their biggest struggles? What are their biggest challenges? How can we support them best? How can we astonish them? And then 30, maybe 45 minutes on your customers and your clients. What are their biggest challenges? How can we support them? How do we rock their world? How can we think creatively? And then how can we bring your team in to help them to get that creative with supporting those customers and clients?
I love that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, I want to get off right now and send him an email and set that up.
Okay. So here we are again, you guys. This is an insight moment. It sounded different to the first Kristen. This insight moment is like, I want to get off. I want to get going. When you coach around insight, the moment someone's there, that they're either there in thinking mode or they're there in action mode. So again, thank you for trusting me, Kristen. We are there. Kristen knows what to do now. I don't need to turn this into an action plan. She's got this. So thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Rich.
I'll let you get back to the kids and put myself back on spotlight. It's a beautiful way to serve people right now. And it's a beautiful way to have people say yes to you, because if you say, hey, let's not talk about you today. Let's talk about your team, your employees, your clients, your customers. Let's spend an hour focusing on them, brainstorming on their problems and their issues. Wow, you'll rock their world. We did this, I think it was last week or the week before, on one of these calls. I coached a couple of people where I did that with them. I asked them one at a time to share what are their clients' biggest challenges. So I acknowledge how I like to play is I like to do a little bit of teaching, but most of the teaching I do is through coaching. And that means I can't get through all of you. And I see there's hundreds of comments in there, people asking me questions and so on. Let me ask you this. Would you post in the chat right now an insight you've had from either one of those conversations, or from where I began at the beginning with this idea of connect, invite, create, propose, the Prosperous Coach framework, and the new piece I added in around creating a chat where you can get someone on a call for 10, 20 minutes. What are your insights from anything we've had so far today? Fred, I saw you asked about the 3 questions for the 10-minute chat. If you go to my blog, if you go to richlitvin.com/articles, and you put chat into the search box and the articles, I've written a whole piece about that. So you'll catch that. Oh, hi, David. You asked the same question. So that will come there as well. Just looking at your insights right now, you guys. Svi, nice distinctions you drew out. That's great. Asking people about the dark side of their strengths is a really powerful question. People have thought a lot about their strengths. They haven't often thought about where's there a flip side to them that's actually holding them back. And if they're in touch with the things that's holding them back right now, you can do the opposite. Like, well, if this is holding you back, where's the gift in that? Because if there wasn't a gift, you'd have let it go a long time ago. There's a gift in your challenges, and you can look at both sides of the strengths and challenges. It's really powerful. It's a place that they don't look. All right, let me see. I can get a short question. Those of you who write lots and lots, I haven't got time to read it. I need tight questions so I can help you. A couple of you asked about expectations with clients. Steve Chandler has a beautiful distinction. He calls expectations versus agreements. Most people live in a world of expectations, and a few people who live a created life live in a world of agreements. So when I get on my first call with my clients, I say, let's create some really clear agreements between us. Because what we don't want is that you have an expectation that I respond to emails within 24 hours, or pick up the phone when you call, or I have an expectation that if we agree you'll do a piece of homework or an assignment, that you'll do it. Let's get really clear. Let's go through all the ways this could break down and create a clear agreement around each one of them. And here's a really powerful question you can ask each of your clients. What's your favorite flavor of failure? What's your favorite flavor of failure? Try saying that one twice. If we were to get to the end of our coaching, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months that we were together, and you have not accomplished anything on your list, what's the reason that's most likely that will have happened? Because we almost always know in advance. Are you one of those people who say that you'll go fully in on something, but you hold back? Are you someone who is really there to test things and not really play full out? What's your favorite way of not getting the value that you want to create from something, so that we can handle that right now? We won't have to address that down the road. All right, let me keep going through your questions, see if I can get a couple more before the top of the hour. All right, Chrissy asked an interesting question. If I did a hot seat call like this for my community, what's the path to getting clients into working privately or in a group program? I'd love to hear your perspective on the reassurance that clients will pay for coaching when I'm weekly coaching for free. Well, this is the long-term game. This is the long-term game. I want to give as much value to anyone I coach, whether they're paying me money or not paying me money, that as I do to my $100,000 clients. Both Kristens who I coach today, their worlds will change from that tiny conversation. One day, one of them might come back, or I might never speak to them again. One of them might become a paying client of mine and join my community, or I might never see them again. Maybe someone here watched that and they go, wow. And they come back again next week or the week after, or they follow read my newsletter. And I had someone, I did a filming of something at my house back in December, and a woman who was there, part of my community, she said, Rich, I started following you 7 years ago. I don't even know what I was writing about 7 years ago. She started following me 7 years ago. And then she joined Project Kairos. And Project Kairos is where I work with a small group of leaders, people who've left another field to come into coaching. And they feel a bit like the first Kristen, that I'm a beginner, I'm a baby coach. And I quickly kind of push that out of them and have them really fly fast as a coach. She went from 7 years of not spending a single penny with me to spending $15,000 becoming part of my community. So I'm in it for the long haul. I'm here to serve and create value. And I don't know when it's going to come back to me. Now, if you need cash, that's a different game you need to play. If you need cash right now, then seek out support from government loans, or ask for help from your mortgage company, or speak to your landlord. If you need cash and you're in trouble, you can't create clients from that place. But if you're in it for the long haul, then I would say serve, serve, serve. Christy, you can listen to my podcast, and all I do on my podcast week after week is I coach people. You can get coached by me for no charge for years. Never send me a penny. That's the game I'm playing, but it is a longer term game. And then sometimes what you'll need to do is to those people who are on that conversation with you, if you do a hot seat coaching for 20 people in your community, is you can say to them, hey, if any of you like this and want to have one-on-one coaching with me, reach out to me. If any of you like this and want to talk about what it'd be like to be in a group where I do this with you, but instead of just by chance or by luck that you get to be coached, to guarantee that I'm coaching you, let's talk. Some people will want that. Look, there's 130 people on this call. I got to coach 2 of them. I've got no doubt that gave value for the whole community, but I know that some people at some point will say, I want some more. And that's this place that you come from service, you serve the people as powerfully as if they were your full-on paying clients, and you just know it will come back to you. What it can never be is that kind of give to get. I'll give you some value now, and then hopefully you're gonna give money back to me. All right, I've now got another 78 messages just showed up in there. So let me pause in this moment. Here, let's turn this from insight to action, because that's all that counts. So let's do this in the last couple of minutes. Will you capture a tiny action you're going to take as a result of this call and post it in the chat? And it can be as tiny as, oh, now I know this guy called Rich, I'm going to go and read his articles. Doesn't matter how small it is. What's one tiny action you're going to take as a result of this call? Because insight without action is just dreaming for the sake of dreaming. Insight that turns into a tiny step means things are going to happen. All right. Let's see what your actions are. Oh, great. Teresa's going to print out the 6 questions, post them on her wall. Vaishnavi, invite people for more chats. Renita's going to write out those questions. Suzanne's going to track her numbers on a dashboard. Lindsay's going to create a menu. Okay, great. Graciela is going to says, I'm going to stop calling myself a new coach. Fantastic. That will change your life. Yeah. I see you smiling, Kristen. I will change your life when you stop talking about yourself as a new coach. There's a line I use in my podcast. I say, for most of human history, it wasn't called coaching. It was called leadership. You've been leading in all sorts of ways for years. You're not a new coach. All right, I love seeing the actions that you guys are taking. This makes it real for me. Okay, great. If any of you are not in our Facebook group, we have a Facebook group called Serve, Lead, Serve. I created it about 4 weeks ago, maybe longer. My time frames of, how many of you don't even know what day of the week it is right now? It's confusing, right? Come and join Serve, Lead, Serve. Just put it into Facebook or put my name in and you'll find it. It's a community of coaches. We've got about 2,000 people already. it's not going to run in perpetuity. I was going to run it for a few weeks. I might run it for a few weeks longer, but I am putting some really valuable stuff in there. I'm sharing. I'm not holding back. There's some great people in there, and it's a way to dive deeper into what we're up to. So, Suzanne just posted the link to the article about creating clients from a chat. Thank you for that, Suzanne. And Cordelia pasted the link to the Facebook group. I love it. We've got a community is really there of service for one another right now. We're at the top of the hour. I got to go and check on my son and make sure he's not playing video games instead of listening to the audiobook like he promised. So what I'd like to do is this. I'm going to cancel the spotlight video and invite you to put yourself on the gallery view, and I'm going to unmute everyone so we can all send each other some energy at this moment in time. Same time next week for those of you who want to join us. Let me hit unmute all. All right, gang. Nice to see you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
All the best.
Love it.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks very much.
It's so good to see some
Bye.
see some of you in the intensive.
Thank you. Can't give them away.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.